Well, howdy, everybody. Or good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, whichever one of those you will be listening to around that time. Yeah, howdy. It's been a while, been maybe too long of a while. I was looking at my last recording and it was 2 months ago. Yeah, so let's see. Of course, some things have happened, and we're gonna definitely get into that. But first, I just want to say hello. I already said that like what, 3, 4 times? Well, hello. There we go. And I hope y'all are doing well. I hope that with the summer coming up, and let's be real for a minute, and we're not even in summer yet, and it's already hot. It is hot as balls. It's ridiculous. I mean, well, okay, I've lived here my whole life in here in San Antonio. So anytime it does get hot, we don't really have to wait for summer to, signify that it's hot. But it's usually between like the end of April all the way to, well, realistically, it's supposed to end like around September. But let's be real. There's been 100-degree weather in September. I remember one time around my birthday, which is late September. By the way, that's coming up. Another reminder I'm getting old. Thanks. Gonna be 30. Not looking forward to it. Although, really, I kind of am, but does anybody ever really look forward to their birthdays anymore? I think I stopped counting. Well, not that I stopped counting, but I'm not really one for celebrating. And I don't know if that just comes with age or you just really don't want to celebrate. Though last year I did celebrate, and that should have been for my 30, but hey, you only turn 29 once and it was good. It was a nice time, nice people, well, great people at that, and it was all in all a good time. Now, as far as my 30 goes, haven't really planned anything. I'm not sure I want to do anything other than celebrate with my family. Of course, that's the traditional thing to do, and it's never bad. It's never bad when you spend it with family or friends or both. I usually just do it with family because, well, you can never go wrong with family. Let's see, what else is going on? So other than the heat, other than working in the heat, that's right. I gotta tell you, along with working with the heat, which I mean at this point we're coworkers at this point. And we have to be there. I don't understand why. But another thing too, for those of y'all that don't know, I am a delivery driver and I deliver for a local grocery company. Won't say the name because if I do say the name and they hear it, they're going to be like, probably not going to sponsor that. And I don't blame them because who wouldn't want to sponsor me? I don't know. That reminds me, today's sponsorship is brought to you by absolutely nobody because I'm not sponsored. Only myself and my cat Gerber, who is looking at me. Hi. Hi, cat. Yeah, also, side note, I do have a cat. Where? Okay, he was here and then he disappeared. Sorry about that. But yeah, don't ask me what breed it is. I'm just gonna say it's a cat. All right, it's he's a little over a year old now. Yeah, he's a good cat. I won't say he's great because great would be like I come to the door and he greets me there. Nope, doesn't do that. The best that he will ever do is when I get home. I'll say I'll say Gerbatron, or I'll say Gerbs, or I'll just say like, "What's going on, Gerbs?" And yeah, I am greeted with absolutely nothing, unless of course, I go into the bedroom, and one of two things happens there. I know it's a party when it's just him. I will either find him somehow under all my blankets, which is literally just one, but I just look at my bed and I'll look at the outline, and there's a little lump, and sure enough, it's him. Either that or he's just chilling under the bed. So I don't know, there's something about the bed. It's just, I guess, maybe he's hinting at me that I need to get him a little cat bed. But he has a cat tree. It's not like I'm making him sleep anywhere else and making him sleep outside because I'm not an animal. He is, but I'm not. But no, he has a cat tree. He uses it from time to time, but cats are just gonna be cats, I guess. Yeah, so anyways, I totally forgot what we were talking about. Right, delivery driving. Or what I do. So I do deliver groceries, and I I gotta tell you, it's not the hardest job, but it's also not the easiest. And I will definitely give. Well, I'll go into the pros and cons of it right now. The pro of it is that, well, with this job, I'm not driving my personal vehicle because let's be real here, the gas prices. Which, by the way, I don't know what the gas prices are where you're at, but here they've just gone over $4, like just a regular unleaded. It's already like 409, and I don't understand. I mean, I understand why, and I understand the why this is why it is what it is, but I just don't understand why it's so expensive. Just it's unnecessary. Gas is necessary, just in case were wondering. That's a pro that because we're not using our vehicles, and the other thing too is that because well, depending on which store you're at, because some are diesels, some are gas. So we have to, well, we use diesel at where I work at. So just imagine that's what I think it's 5.16 right now, $5.16 per gallon. I do not envy whoever has to pay the bill for the gas card that we use. It's crazy because to fill up from, okay, so just to give you an idea, it's well, if we're filling up from just halfway, we're not talking to like from empty all the way to full. From the halfway point, maybe a little less to fill it up, it's about what 17 between 17 to 20 gallons. So that is roughly about, well, it varies between like 70 to $90, and it's not coming out of my pocket because if you think I love my job that much to pay, no, absolutely not. It sucks. It doesn't matter who you are. We're in trying times. Just I mean, if you need a reminder, just either look at the gas prices or just go to the other place, whether it's a restaurant or a business or whoever. Like you will see. Which, depending on who you are, if you just turned 16 and you need a job, I promise you're gonna get hired because people need bodies and they need they need employees like badly. So you know if you're young and you need a job, I promise you, just apply anywhere, one try, you will get hired. And if not, well, just let me know because I could definitely refer you to where I work at, and I will make sure you get hired. That's my personal promise. I can't be doing that because, yeah, that's going to come back to me, and they will have proof because this. Right, so let's not get into that. And the other thing that I'm realizing, the more and more that I'm on the road, which, depending on the shift, it varies between 8.5 to 11 hours. I've noticed that there's some people who can't drive. That I don't understand. That those of us who got our license and have been driving for however long, what I don't get, people can't drive, or some people can't drive, and some people can't park. And it's not like it's really difficult to see the lines, nor is it difficult to make that decision in which I'm either going to park in between the lines or I'm not gonna park there. And what baffles me every time when I get to the store, there are people. Okay, I think I'm just lost with words because now that I'm like thinking about it, it's really not that hard to park your car. And at the fact that people will still park either on top of the lanes, like or on top of the lines, or just I don't know. I can't even like put into words because it's actually kind of crazy. Um, Blows my mind even that it's somehow really difficult to park. And look, it's really not. You just approach it like pull in and you park in between the lines and you're good. But people like to take that extra step and maybe they oversteer when they approach the parking spot and they overpark. So their tires are either on the line or it's over to the next spot, which I don't know how you do that. And you think that's good parking. It's not. It's really not. Oh, and of course it's those who either have like they have a really big truck and those really big tires. Those are the worst. And I don't get it. Like, are you that tall that you cannot see the lines? Like, is it like okay? I seriously don't get it. Like, I've been in lifted trucks. I've driven lifted trucks as high as like 8 inches. And you're going to tell me that it's really difficult that you just can't see the lines to just park. If you can't park there, then go park somewhere else, or just at the very least go somewhere where you're not gonna be a problem, because that's what it just boils down to. That if you can't park the right way, then don't park. I'm sorry to tell you. Like, I know you need your groceries or wherever you're parking. I know you need that, but I also know that you will be a problem if you cannot park the right way. It's just, and I will even go an extra step and just say, hey, if you can't park, come to me. I will park for you. And guess what? I'm not going to miss, because I've been doing this. Well, I feel like I've been doing this for too long, but I really haven't. But it's just, it amazes me that some people just can't park. Of course, that's just at the store. We haven't even left the store. So when I go deliver, that's another issue too. Is that, well, okay, you have to remember I'm in a big van, and it's wrapped so they know who I'm with, they know who I work for, and they know, they know who it is, right? So you would think a big vehicle, I should probably not get in the way. I should probably make sure that I am as far away from this big vehicle as possible. Absolutely not. I don't understand why people like to test their abilities. Or it's not even so much testing their abilities, they just like to see how close, or even if they can't execute, wanting to get into an accident with a company vehicle. Which, of course, if you get into an accident with a company vehicle, you're more than likely going to win because money. That's just what it comes down to. It doesn't matter who you are. You're probably going to win because money. That's just what it is. So, that being said, there have been many close calls that I've had. It feels like I get two of them a week, and they're not because of me. They are because, one, I get cut off a lot. And it's not even like I'm on a highway. I'm in neighborhoods. I am literally just on, like, in every other neighborhood or subdivisions, what have you. They're even just on the, like, even on the main roads. It's no highways. I don't touch highways unless I absolutely have to, because where I'm at, I'm no, I mean, I'm near one, but that's if you're trying to get back to the store and the roads are just too packed for some reason. So if you feel taking the highways just a little better, sure. I had to do that today because there was an accident on the way to my last delivery. So I was like, you know what? Made a U-turn, got on the highway, which felt weird because I forgot what it was like to do 65. Uh, and yeah, that was an experience, even if it was for 5 minutes. That's the thing. Regardless, on the road, like, on the streets, on the highway, no matter where you are almost guaranteed to get cut off while in a company vehicle. Like, it's just, it's bound to happen. Whether you expect it or not, it's gonna happen. And that happens on a daily basis, like, a lot. And the other thing too, which I don't know, maybe I might have snoozed when I was in driver's ed, or I might have missed a chapter somewhere, where if you see a yellow light, does that still mean green, or should you be on the way to, like, probably slowing down, because it's not going to go back to green. It's only going to go red. I don't know. It just, I'm going, and of course this is because I'm thinking about it now, and it just honestly makes me upset, because I know it's one thing. I'm a really big target. Like, I'm in a really big vehicle. It's not even a semi, but the fact that it's a big van, and it just doesn't drive like a regular vehicle. All right, we're gonna go a little slower than other vehicles, and we're gonna make a wider turns, just a little wider, not a lot wider, but just a little than a regular vehicle. So yeah, we drive a little different because we have to. It's in the job description, and it's also, well, I mean, I would say common sense, but that does not apply to some people, and I don't understand. But anyways, yeah, we're in a company vehicle, so we have to follow company rules. I don't know. Anyways, I'm like, I think I'm getting upset for, like, no reason. I genuinely don't understand why you would want to put yourself in danger with a company vehicle, in which, whether you get into an accident or not, just proves how bad of a driver you are. So just don't do it. It's very easy. Don't put yourself in danger. Because it's not just putting yourself in danger, you're putting others in danger, whether it's, the driver, you, or other drivers around you. Like, you're gonna put somebody in danger. And why? Because You wanted to see if you could pass the red light before it turned red, which most of the time you will never win against a yellow going to red. I promise you, you will never win those because as soon as it turns yellow, it doesn't. I mean, unless you're right at the light as it turns yellow, okay, then go. But if you're like a quarter mile away from the light and it's yellow, I it doesn't mean you have to speed up so you can. I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm getting upset. I need to calm down. But y'all get it though, right? Or it depends on who I'm talking to, because some will actually race the light. They'll see like, hey, you know what? It just turned yellow. I'm like a quarter mile away. I can make that. No, you can't. You absolutely cannot. And here's the thing too. In some areas of town, which I don't think they do it anymore, which is a good thing because I'm calling myself a hypocrite, calling all this out, and I don't make those mistakes because I do in my vehicle, not the company vehicle. And of course, if they're hearing this now, they're like, "Oh, well, Jay, we should watch your driving then." It's like, no, you shouldn't. Anyways, yeah, they used to have these red light cameras. They don't have them anymore. I mean, they exist, but they don't mean like if they flash, like if the camera goes off, you won't get a letter in the mail, and you have to pay like I think it was like $75 if you ran a red light or if they got your plates and whatever. That's what it used to be. And of course they don't do it anymore because they're pretty much outlawed. Regardless of that, if you see the best way I use like a good reference that I use, most lights are gonna have like a little crosswalk signal. So like you see the hand and then you see the little guy walking. Most of them, like when the hand comes out, there's a countdown that goes on. I will always use that as a reference because most of the time, as soon as it turns 0, that means the light goes yellow, and it's an indication that okay, it's about to be a red light. If I can see those numbers, I'll look at it and it's like okay, do I have enough time to make that light? Then I will proceed. I will not need to slow down. It's all good. But the second I see that it's like 5 seconds, that be between 5 to 0, that's how I go off of it. So between 5 seconds to 0, as soon as it goes 0, the light turns yellow, and almost immediately it goes to red. That's what I use, and that's my tip for today, tonight, whatever, depending on what time you're listening to this. But that's what I use, and you could tell that some people don't have a reference, or they like to speed. And look, I'm not gonna say that I don't speed because I have a heavy foot. Yeah, sometimes I like to see if I can make it, and I'm working on that. I don't do it on the clock, obviously, because you just never know. My managers could be at any part of town, and they could be on my side of town on any given day. And as soon as they see me going like a mile or two over the speed limit, oh, that's a write up almost immediately. Now, am I going to test that? No. I could be assured that they will get me, and it's not going to be pretty. As a matter of fact, when I did get hired, like I think within the first couple months, they did they did catch me speeding. Yeah. I think I was doing 72 in a 65. Now, granted, those vans are governed, so you can't. I think it's 75 that you can't go past 75 because like regardless of how much pressure you put on the gas pedal, you will not exceed 75 miles per hour. So they're all governed to where you can't go faster than 75 miles per hour. Now, I did 72 in a 65, and I remember exactly where I was. Because it's like, yeah, maybe I'm going a little too fast. And sure enough, I was. Because the next day they called me in. They're like, hey, so we just want to talk about your speeding. I was like, oh boy, I know where this is going. And so, yeah, I had to sign a paper, and they said if they caught me one more time, I would get the boot. And yeah, that was literally 2 years ago. No, it'll be 2 years in 2 months. Uh, which also reminds me, I am coming up on a anniversary with the company. So I started May, I think it was May 23rd, 2020, and of course this was like right in the smack dab middle of COVID, because a month before I got hired with them, I got laid off from my old job because of COVID. Now, whether I believe that's the true reason or not, if you know me and you know what happened, well, I won't get too into detail, but job security just did not apply to me at that old job. So when COVID hit, there's like, all right, let's use that as the excuse. We're not going to look bad, and cut. Literally, that's what happened. Again, won't get too into it because that was then, and we're here now, and I'm actually doing a lot better than I did in those 4 years that I was at. Granted, I miss my I miss my old coworkers. I miss what I did, and yeah, all that. I miss the environment. I just don't miss the management, not one bit. Right. So we're here now, and yeah, so I'm coming up on a 2 year anniversary. Yay me! Although I don't call it what is it, 2 years of service? I call it 2 years of survival, because yeah, like I said, ever since I got pulled into the office that one time, I have been very, very careful as to not to speed and to not do anything that is uncharacteristic of me. Which even that is like, what does that mean? Yeah. So yeah, maybe doing more work than I should. Be it as it may, I'm still here. Yay. So yeah, that was, I would say like that that's what just happened in the week, but that has been going on for weeks because perks of being a delivery driver. But yeah, I think I went over the pros and cons. Oh, well, the other thing too, because we also deliver to apartments, and that is a that's a different conversation to be had. But not to get too into that one, but if you live in a third floor apartment, I'm just gonna tell you right now, no. That's all I'm gonna say. Just if I see that I have to deliver to an apartment complex, that's already strike one, in which it's not gonna look good if we get to three. So strike one is I'm going to an apartment. Strike two is if the parking lot or like the parking lot situation, it is really tight, which I give neighborhoods a pass because they're neighborhoods. Some are just like really, really tight to where only one car could really go through because people like to park on the side and make it really difficult for for cars to come and go, especially in a van. So strike two is the parking situation, which that in itself is a headache. And then the third strike is if you live on a like a second floor is fine, I guess. But the third floor is where I just say absolutely not gonna happen. But I don't have a say in it because I am told where to go and I have to go, no questions asked. But here's the thing. And I'm saying this as somebody who lives on a second floor, but I promise it's not that bad. But going to a third floor, it's ridiculous. Okay, usually what we deliver, well, as what I've seen, it's just been, bread, milk, cheese, eggs. Oh God, eggs. I kind of, I kind of freak out when I hear eggs because we have to be very gentle with them. That goes without saying. You got to be very careful with the groceries, but you have to be extra careful with the eggs because if one of them cracks, you got to take them back. I did not make that up. I don't know where I heard it from, but we're just gonna go with that. And yeah, but the other thing is people like to shop for either for themselves or they're shopping for their family, and it's understandable. You got mouths to feed, and there's only so much you can get. Because I know some stores are putting limitations on like what you can buy. At the moment, baby formula is kind of hard to come by, no matter where you go, whether it's your local store or the national brand stores. Baby formula is really hard to come by, and if you do find it, well, you're only limited to buying I think like 2 or 3 if you can find it. But yeah, some stores will put limitations on different stuff. So baby formula, and of course some of y'all know the paper towels, well, toilet paper, more specifically, water. Dairy products too. But anyways, back to third floors and why I despise them so much. Because I understand if you live by yourself on a third floor, I get that. Okay, I absolutely get that. But that does not give you a right to order half of the store and have that delivered to your door. You have no right to do that because you can order in small increments. Like get the stuff that you need, whether it's toilet paper or milk or eggs, bread, whatever you can last for a week, get that first. And then, get everything else. Because tell me why you have to get 3 cases of water and you justify that because you need that. No. Nobody needs that much. Not one person or unless you rely on that, and if you're too good for tap water. But then again, that opens up a can of worms, which I don't want to get into. But like, what I'm trying to get at is you don't need to order that much groceries, or you don't have to order that much at all. Like, just get the bare minimum, and at the very least, can you just make it easier as far as to like find your place? It's not so much the issue that we have to take the groceries there. The other issue is having to find you, in which if you think by putting no instructions, you think we're gonna find your apartment number like immediately? That doesn't work that way. See, there, believe it or not, there's actually there's steps that go into when having a hunt down, because that's what it comes down to. If we don't get any instructions and all we get is just the apartment number, no gate code, which that itself is annoying. That if we have to go to an apartment complex and you don't have a gate code, what good is that? Honestly, what is the point of us having to deliver to your apartment and the gate's closed and the only way to access it is, or to access that is, we need a gate code. And if that's not provided, I almost just want to just turn around and just keep moving on, or just go on to the next order or to the next delivery, because I feel like I spend more time sitting in the van either waiting for somebody to open the gate or texting the customer to say, hey, may I have a gate code? Because it's ridiculous. Like, we should have those like almost, well, pretty much right away, or it should be available to us no matter what. But it's just not an option, and that's just dumb. I personally feel that's dumb. That if we're delivering to an apartment complex and you don't have a gate code, I just will not deliver. Although we really can't. um, but it takes longer because number one, we have to get into your apartment complex, and number two, we gotta find your apartment, and that itself is never fun because, of course, apartments that usually go through the 1 through 8 system, 1 through 4 being on one side, 5 through 8 being on the other. That's a 50-50 chance. If you're one of those who are like myself, who like to limit their trips from the van to the door, like, well, because I will try to do everything in one trip, but let's be real. I'm human, and we're all human. So there's only so much we could take, especially when they order cases of water, because that's a trip within itself. But anyways, having to go 50-50 between, like, if your apartment number is like, I don't know, like 3306, so that means you're on the 5 through 8 side. Now, some apartments do a really good job, and I always look forward to delivering those, regardless, third floor, I don't care. The fact that I could see like what this side is like, so this side is apartments like 30, like what is it, 3101 to 3304. So that's the side that's 1 through 4, which is perfect. Okay, cool. But if mine is like 3306, that means I'm gonna have to go through the 5 through 8 side. And they do a good job. They'll do a good job labeling that. That is just rare. It's rare to come across that because most apartment complexes do not have that. Like, you legit have to get out of the van, which, I mean, you have to do anyways. Get out of the van and find you got to find the side that it's on, and then go up the stairs, drop the bags, come back down, and you keep doing that for however big or small the amount of groceries is. So yeah, I think I'm just going off of that on my personal experience, but it's a good gig. I love it. I mean, I love what I do. I just wish there was an easier way. Or at the very least, anybody who lives in an apartment should tip better. And that's the other thing too, because yeah, we're tip based. So you would think if you have a big order, that should give an indication that they're going to tip good. No. That's usually never the case. And I can tell because at the end of our route, we can check, how much we made for that route specifically. We can't check per order how much they tip. We just get the grand total of the route. So most of them are between like 3 to 5 orders. It's very rare that you get anything below 3. So if you get a 2 or like a 1 or 2 order route, then you'll know how much. Like, if it's a 1 order route, you'll know how much they tipped. But yeah, that whole mindset that if they order a lot, you're gonna get tipped very well. No, that is not true. But yeah, so that's me. That's my job, And yeah, again, I love it. I love what I do. It just some days, man, some days. Because if it's an apartment, my day's already ruined. Like automatically, if I see an apartment, it could be a first floor, but the fact that it's an apartment complex, that's it. Days ruined. I don't care. Yeah, that's my job. I feel like I spent a good chunk of that podcast just on that alone. Right, let's talk about something else because if I keep talking about my job, I feel like that should just be an episode, right? Okay, good, cool. Okay, y'all take care. Bye. Now we'll give another subject. A lot of so I was able to because when I posted the first podcast, by the way, if you haven't listened to the first podcast, don't worry about it because there was a lot going on there as far as where was I going, what was I even going to talk about, or at the very least, what needs to be said, right? Because of the first podcast, and you're nervous. I'm still nervous now, but I'm a lot more relaxed because, well, I'm literally just talking to a microphone, and yeah, that's just what it is. I'm realizing, which, by the way, this is more or less structured than it was the last time because I have a friend of mine, won't say his name because he asked, or he told me not to. He actually gave me an outline that I should follow, which, as you can tell, I've been talking for this long about one subject, so that's 2/3 of the podcast right there. We're just gonna segue into the next segment, or the next part of the podcast, which this would be the part where I would talk about restaurants or any restaurants that I have been to. But as you can imagine, having the inconsistent work schedule that I have, it's really hard to really go anywhere and try any new restaurants. But you know what? I will say this: if you've been on this YouTube channel, on my YouTube channel, long enough, then you'll see that I used to dab a little, not literally, but I did some food reviews, mainly on bacon cheeseburgers. Thus the name of the channel, Bacon Cowboy. Um, the origin story on that's still up in the air, but basically, Cowboy is what I go off on online. Because yeah, I have a life outside of my body, which is online. Why did I word it like that? I don't know. Don't ask. And bacon because I love bacon. Probably more than I should, and I really need to cut back on how much I love it. So, yeah, but we're not gonna get into that. Yeah, so like I said, this is the part where I would do like a mini review on like restaurants that I've been to, and I really haven't been to any restaurants, so that's unfortunate. And I guess I'm gonna use this for what should be the restaurant review to discuss where I am in life and where I'm gonna go, which I probably should have been more into detail on the first one because I did say like the future of the Bacon Cowboy podcast, which up in the air still because I think somewhere probably towards the end where I'm like I don't know if this is going to be like an actual thing that I'm going to keep up with because if the last recording was like 2 months ago, what does that tell you? And my cat just dropped something. So is that my wallet? Ugh. Sorry. Yeah. So I'm gonna use this time to just talk about where I am at now, and where I'm gonna go. Yeah, I actually didn't think about this. At the moment, I'm actually gonna go. Well, I'm actually gonna go. I'm actually going back to school. I'm going to get my CDL. I want to become a truck driver. That didn't sound convincing. I know. I'm just like, why? Why are you sounding like that? Yeah, no. I'm going to school to get to work towards obtaining my CDL, and the goal would be to become a truck driver. To work for who? I don't know, but I know I can make something of it. And really, I would say this is like a legacy thing, but this is more of, I've kind of been interested in this line of work for quite some time. I guess ever since I started, doing delivery. Now you're probably wondering, how the heck does someone who delivers have the interest to want to become a truck driver? Well, good question and fair. Believe it or not, my dad is a truck driver. He's been doing that for his whole life, pretty much. And, he makes it look so easy. But the times that, that I did wake up, when he did wake me up, as in like I actually woke up because I felt him waking me up. Um, that we would go and I would watch him, or yeah, just ride along with him and see him in action. And I never thought about it back then, of course, but I'm thinking back on it now. I think my cat found my chapstick. That makes sense on the noise. Sorry. Yeah, he's been doing it his whole life, like I said, and I never really took an interest on it back then. But of course, there's so much that you could learn. Well, not so well. Yeah, you could learn, but there's so much to look at when it comes to truck driving, because it's not just driving. Like there's more to it than that, depending on like what you're hauling. Anyways, yeah. So my dad's a truck driver, and you would think that because he's a truck driver, I would follow in his footsteps. I mean, well, like I said, I wasn't that interested back then. Of course, when I was in high school, I thought I wanted to be a music teacher, and that didn't pan out so well. Fast forward to now, yeah, it's just a few weeks ago, I did go, I rode along with him. I gotta say, he makes it look not just so easy, but he does it so flawless. But he's also explaining to me like the ins and outs of what it is to be a truck driver, and just the basics really, until I actually um, get more into the schoolwork and basically learn as I go. I'm pretty thankful. I'm very thankful actually, for him and the school. Well, because what I learned from the school, I can just translate into you know telling my dad, and then he can give his side, because obviously what you learn and what you adapt into your workflow, it's going to change whether you learned it from one person or multiple people. So that's basically what it's going to come down to. Like, I'm going to take what I learned from school, and then I'm going to take what I learned from my dad, combine the two, and voila, I'm hoping to be as flawless as my dad, but that's years of experience, and I have yet to get behind the wheel. Yeah, so that's the semi sort of life update. Like I said, I just started. Hopefully, by the next podcast, fingers crossed, I will have my CDL, and we'll see where that goes. Um, but of course, I will definitely keep you all posted. The issue with, well, I wouldn't say the issue. I think it's just more of a want to do the podcast. But the thing is, I feel like I could have made this a long time ago. Like I could have made this weeks ago. Like I probably could have made this the week after I made the first podcast. I don't know. I feel like I have to want to do it, not because I have to, because I want to do it. Like I want to do the podcast. Like deep down, I do want to do this podcast. I want to do it as often as I can, work permitting and now school permitting, and just be able to do this as often as I can. That was the goal at the beginning, anyways. I mean, I make it sound like I've been doing this forever. I've only just started, but the thing is, it's just I usually just don't feel like doing anything, and it's not so much because of work. I think it's just more of lack of energy. Could be. But yeah, no, I definitely want to. I want to be more active with this podcast. So you're hearing it first. At the moment, or as it stands right now, I want to do this once a month. Now, if that changes, of course, well, you'll know. It could be every other week, or it could be weekly. I obviously want to start off slow, because the first one was just to get it out there, just to like, hey, this guy does podcasts. He sounds like garbage, but he's doing a podcast. Yeah, we'll see. I definitely want to at least do this once a month, for now. And if y'all like it, and if I get more of an urge to do it, I guess, then I will, like I said, I'll be more proactive and be more um, involved with the podcast and actually do it, right? Because it's not as easy as just clicking the red button, talking to it for about an hour and a half, and clipping it to make it look professional, make it look professional, make it sound professional. One of those, and voila, I posted to YouTube, because there's more to it than that, believe it or not. But y'all don't have to know that, because all that matters is it's on YouTube. You can listen to it, and that's it. So, gonna definitely do a better job on that for sure. And y'all got to call me out on that too, because if y'all are hearing this, that means y'all are going to be like, all right, Jay, when's the next podcast? Or how's the podcast coming along? Or, just like, hey, Jay, what is life? And I'm still trying to figure that out too. Uh, so, yeah, that's what I'm going to do. And I felt like I spent too much time talking on that, but whatever. Segue. Don't have one. Don't care. But yeah, you know what? With that, that's gonna end the podcast. And this is the part where the music comes in. I don't know what I have. I'm gonna be clever and picking up some sort of like catchy track that will not be copyrighted because this came from the YouTube playlist question mark. I don't know. I forget where I get the music from, but as long as it's good enough to where YouTube doesn't flag it, and depending on how far I go with this, and if I start making money, I doubt it. I seriously doubt I'm going to make money off of this, but when the time comes, they're going to look back like, oh, did you use, copyrighted music? And no, I didn't. This literally came from you guys on YouTube, so right back at you. Let's see. Yeah, I feel like I talked about just about anything and everything I wanted to, and I feel I did a better job. Y'all be the judge of that. I'm going to listen to it again. And yeah, we'll just go from there. Thank y'all for taking the time to listen. I don't know how long this podcast will be. It could be 30 minutes. It could be an hour. Or I may just find the sweet spot in the middle and make it 45. I don't know. That's where post-production me is going to try and figure that out. And, we'll see where that goes. Thank y'all for tuning in. Thank you again for the support and the constructive criticism. I do listen to y'all. I promise. That if there's anything that I should either discuss or any restaurants that I should try. Now, at some point, I'll ease into doing like the actual with video food reviews. But I think what I'll do is just depending on the restaurant, whatever. I think I'm just gonna, well, obviously I'm not gonna record it right then and there. I'm just gonna, go to the restaurant and then set aside some time and talk about my experience at the restaurant. But yeah, that's where I will pass that to y'all. That if y'all have any recommendations or anything that I should try, let me know. Drop a comment. And if you have me on Snap, by the way, it's Cowboy1192 if you haven't already. Give me any restaurant, really. As long as it's not spicy. Again, I'm not a big fan of hot, spicy food. I'm Mexican, yes, but I cannot do spicy food. And yeah, I'm really, really hurting the Hispanic in me. I feel it. I hurt. I don't know when the next one will be. Like I said, but I do want to make it once a month. Unless y'all feel I should make it more frequent. But not once a week. I can't do once a week because I have a life too, okay? But for right now, I'm just going to do once a month. And we will see where that goes. But until the next episode, which hopefully doesn't take longer than 2 months. Come on, Jay, you're better than this. Yeah. We'll just pick it up from there, right? That's basically what it is. So, until then, y'all take care.